Hello children, this video is in continuity with the previous video of the chapter Human Health and Diseases. The various objectives we are going to cover in this video are immunity, innate immunity, including physical barriers, physiological barriers, cellular barriers, and cytokine barriers. So first of all, talking about immunity. Immunity is the word derived from a Latin word immunis, which means exempt or freedom. So it is defined as the capacity of the body to defend against the disease, or is the ability of the body to fight against disease causing organisms. The study of immune system is called immunology. It is basically of two types: innate, which is also known as inborn or non-specific immunity, and acquired or specific immunity. So first of all, talking about innate immunity. Innate or non-specific immunity is present in the body from the time of birth. It comprises of all those defense mechanisms with which an organism is born and which is always available to protect a living body. It protects the body against the entry of microorganisms, thus forms the first line of defense. It is called non-specific. So the reason why? Because these defense mechanisms do not distinguish one invader from another. Innate immunity consists of four types of barriers, namely physical or anatomical barriers, physiological barriers, cellular barriers, and cytokine barriers. So first of all, we'll be discussing about physical or anatomical barriers. These barriers form the first line of defense and guard the body against the entry of pathogens. It includes skin and mucous membrane. So talking about skin, it is the outermost hard keratinized layer of the body that covers all the external parts and forms an effective barrier for most bacteria and viruses. Second, mucous membrane. The respiratory tract is lined by a mucous membrane. First, the cilia and the fine hair filter out the undesired particles in the nostrils. Then, mucus, a slimy substance, trap the bacteria, the trachea or bronchi. The movement of cilia sweep bacteria towards the throat, from where they are expelled by coughing or sneezing. Mucus coating present in the gastrointestinal and urinogenital tracts also help in trapping the microbes which enter the body. Next, we'll be discussing about physiological barriers. It includes a number of barriers including rise in body temperature, the acidic pH in stomach, and various body secretions like saliva, tears, etc. that prevent the growth of microorganisms. So first of all, talking about fever. When there is a fight between microorganisms, means the pathogens which cause the disease, and WBCs, it results in rise in temperature, and this condition is called fever. Such an inflammatory response is called the systemic reaction. High fever not only inhibits the growth of germs but also activates body's defense mechanism, and it is at times beneficial if the temperature is not too high and it is not causing any sort of discomfort. The fever is caused either by the toxins released by the pathogens or by the chemicals called pyrogens that are the fever producing substances, and these are released by WBCs that set the body's thermostat at a higher temperature. Then acidic pH. Stomach with acidic pH of about 3 to 5 kills most of the bacteria swallowed with food. Even at the skin surface, the secretion of oil and sweat glands make the surface pH acidic, which do not let microorganisms to survive for long. Means the pH is ranging again between 3 to 5. Now, here we'll be discussing about the various body secretions including tears, saliva, urine, and the secretions, mucous secretions, and even the sweat which contains chemical barriers. So, body secretions. A number of body secretions such as saliva and tears contain lysozymes. If we break the word Lyso word comes for lysis. Zyme means enzyme. So these are the enzymes which are present in saliva and tear that helps to kill the bacteria. So lysozymes present in saliva kill bacteria present in food and drinks. Any bacteria left are killed by the acidic secretions of the stomach. As we have just now discussed that the pH in stomach ranges between 3 to 5. The tear secreted by tear glands also contain lysozymes which prevent eye infections. The salt and fatty acids present in perspiration contains lysozymes as well, which destroy the bacterial cell wall. Now we'll be discussing about cellular barriers. These include wandering phagocytes or white blood cells that circulate in the body. They form the second line of defense and work when the first line of defense is broken and the bacteria and viruses they have gained entry inside the body. During any pathogenic infection, the total WBC count it sharply increases. And when we talk about WBCs, these are basically of two types, agranulocytes and granulocytes. So here, agranulocytes, these are further differentiated into monocytes and lymphocytes, whereas granulocytes are categorized into three subtypes, namely acidophils, basophils, and neutrophils. But talking about the phagocytic action, monocytes and neutrophils are the most important phagocytes in the body. Now talking about monocytes. At the site of infection, monocytes are liberated and they get converted into macrophages. Macrophages means large phagocytic cells. We call them as big eaters. These macrophages wander actively in the interstitial fluid, eating any bacteria and virus infected cells they encounter. Thus, macrophages kill microbes by ingesting them through phagocytosis. Now, neutrophils or polymorphonuclear leukocytes. Neutrophils are a type of WBCs included under granulocytes. And these are the type of WBCs like macrophages. They ingest the bacteria, kill those bacteria. In addition, they also release a chemical that kill other bacteria in the vicinity. Vicinity means the close area. Now, here in this image, we are showing the cellular barriers, which include white blood cells, including agranulo and granulocytes, means the one which are going to engulf the pathogen and break them down by a process called phagocytosis. Cellular barriers include natural killer cells. These are type of lymphocytes. They do not attack the invading microbes directly. Instead, they kill cells of the body that have been infected. So in the next image, we'll come to know how the natural killer cells function. Talking about it, how the natural killer cells they work. In this, the natural killer cells they create a hole or large pore in the plasma membrane of the target cells, that is the virus infected cell or the cancer cell. Proteins called perforins are released from the natural killer cells. The perforin molecules are inserted into the plasma membrane of the target cell, forming a pore. This pore allows water to rush into the target cells, which then swells and finally bursts. About cytokine barriers, cytokines play a major role against the viruses by activating other defense mechanisms. Virus infected cells secrete interferons. The term interferon is based on the property to interfere with the replication of viruses. Interferons are a class of glycoproteins released by the infected cells when they are attacked by a virus. So in the next image, we'll see how they function. In this image, we can see when a viral attack is there in the body, it triggers a number of reactions in the infected cell by which not only does a virus multiplies, but at the same time the infected cells get stimulated and produce interferons. The interferons by themselves are not antiviral, but bring about cellular changes in other non-infected cells in the vicinity and make them resistant to virus and prevent the virus to take over their cellular machinery. We see virus infected cells. They produce interferons. Interferons give signals to the neighboring cells to destroy RNA and reduce protein synthesis, to undergo apoptosis, and as well they activate the immune cells. So thank you so much. We'll continue in the next video.